Hi, and welcome to this week's King Value videos. Today we're going to talk about the acronym K, which stands for knowledge. Let me start by telling you two magical words. Now, if you've never heard them before, this video may very well change your life. Or if you had heard it before, it might be a great refresher or something to inspire you on your way to financial freedom. First, let me give you a quick analogy. This is the sailing boat analogy. Imagine that we're all boats sailing in the water. No matter what happens in life, wind blows from different directions and it blows the boat in that direction. Now we're all like that. Our boat is here and the wind blows this way and suddenly the boat goes that way. Wind blows this way, the boat goes that way. Wouldn't it be nice if you could actually work out how to set your own sail so that whichever way the wind goes, your boat would still go in the direction that you want to go? And that's what we're talking about today. So let's get back to our two life-changing words. Compound. Not a hugely interesting word yet, maybe not drawing you in. So word number two, interest. Hopefully it's starting to interest you in this conversation. Compound interest, quite magical. So imagine you were out playing golf with a buddy and just for fun you said, hey, let's make this game of golf a little bit more interesting and let's bet $1 per hole. Nothing amazing, $1 per hole, it's not going to make you rich, it's not going to make you poor. You turn around and say, hey, let's make this really interesting and let's just double it each hole. Now you might think, no big deal, I bet $1 a hole, it's not going to cost me too much. You keep doubling it, it's, I don't know, $20, $50, it's 18 holes, so there's only a certain amount that will possibly go up. So let me give you some actual figures for what will happen. So for the first hole, you've bet $1, and that's great. Hole number two, you're betting a hole $2. Hole number three, you're up to a whopping $4. By hole number four, you're at $8. Hole number five, you're on 16. Then 32, then 64, and finally hole number 8, you're actually betting $128. It's starting to get up there, and by the 9th hole, you're halfway through and you're $256 in. Probably a lot more than what you thought at $1 per hole, but still, that's quite manageable, even if it's a decent amount that you're betting. But you're thinking, okay, we'll continue on with this, it can't really be too much more. Hole number 10, that's $512. Hole number 11, $1,024. Hole 12, $2,048. Then it goes to $4,096, $8,192, $16,384. By hole 16, you've got 3 more holes to go. You're actually betting $32,768 per hole. Hole 17 flies past and you're sitting on $65,536. And by the time you reach the 18th hole, you better win that hole because you're actually betting $131,072. Down payment on a house for one hole. So yeah, your short little $1 bet, let's just double it, has turned into $131,072. So let's give a little context for those two magic words. The top super funds in Australia, on average over the last 10 years, have returned 9.36%. The same returns in the Australian share market over the same 10 years has been 13.15%. So if you're lucky enough to have accumulated $50,000, and as you can see, you can actually get 10% return on investment. If you invest that, after 1 year, you'll have $5,000 in interest. That's not bad. Now here's the magic of how compound interest works. You take that same $5,000, put it back with your $50,000, so you've got $55,000 now, and you invest that again at 10% for another year. You don't just get another $5,000, you get $5,500. That's an extra $500 for that year. And exponentially over the years, that's going to go up and up and up. So let me give you a real world example. Say for instance, you're 35 years old and you take that $50,000 and you invest it until retirement, which means you're working for another 30 years and it just sits there. So after 30 years at 10%, again, up and down, fluctuates year by year, you're looking at having a return on investment of $872,469.16, of which $822,469.16 is actually interest. You only put $50,000 in. Now, the second part of this scenario is, say for instance you contributed $10,000 a year, which you can quite easily do through super funds. Your work may give you 10%, but if you contribute $10,000 through your super fund, same 30 years go past, you've got $2.681,901.98, of which $2.33901 million is actually the interest. And that's a significant number. $10,000 a year from 35 with a $50,000 initial investment. The key here is start now. Let time be on your side. What we tend to do is we tend to look at the now. We don't look at who we are in the future. In that last year, when you're 64 going on to 65, you'll actually earn $243,809.18. And you'll also contribute $10,000. So if you divide that by 52 weeks of the year, that means you're earning $4,688.64 every week, which is what you're missing out on if you don't invest now, but choose to wait one more week. $4,688. Wait a couple of weeks, double that. Wait a year and you've missed out on $243,809 by simply going, I just can't get my stuff together. So remember back to your first paycheck and how much that actually seemed? It seemed like a huge amount to me, even though when I look back, it really wasn't very much. What about if you could take a time machine and jump back and go back to when you were 15 years old and you got your first job? Again, using the power of compound interest, imagine you could save $1,000 when you're 15, and then $1,000 when you're 16, $1,000 at 17, and this continues on until you're 25. You've managed to go for 10 years of saving $1,000 each year. Not a huge amount, although it is to a 15-year-old, but at the end of that, you've saved $10,000. You decide, that's it, my mates are partying, I'm going to go off and I'm going to do that, see the world, get married, do whatever I want to do at 25, and you stop saving. Okay, not something I'd advise, but if you do, that $10,000 at that point at 25 with compound interest is actually $17,531.16. Again, not a massive figure, but it's almost doubled. So at 25 to when you retire at 65, you don't contribute anything else. So that 40 years of just sitting there and earning compound interest has now multiplied to $793,446.10 from initial 10K investment. That's incredible. Okay, say instead of being 15, you now start at 25. It's only 10 years that have gone past, but you've done exactly the same thing. From 25 to 35, you've saved up $10,000. When you retire at 65, it's now only worth $305,907.93. Significant difference between the $793,000 that you saved at 15. If you start 10 years later at 35, that same $10,000 will only be worth $117,940.79. Massive difference, 7 times more by starting at 15 as opposed to 35. Okay, I hear you say, but I'm not 15. How do I apply this to now? Well, what if you had kids? What if you had a kid tomorrow and you decided, I'm going to do the same thing? So you start saving $1,000 a year for the first 10 years of its life, then you never save anything else for this poor child again. So, fast forward in your time machine, your child has now hit 60 years old and you've just been putting this money away, not touching it. 10 years is all you invested, $10,000, and you just left it there. So, obviously, 60 years have passed. You want to guess? $2,157,994.08. Don't forget the 8 cents. 2.1 million, over 2.1 million, just for letting it sit there. A lot of people's biggest fears is the fact that they won't be able to look after themselves in retirement. You won't have enough money and you'll have to rely on others. Rely on their kids, rely on the government, rely on someone else after they've led a really fruitful life doing things for themselves. What this does is sets you up or sets your kids up so they will never have to rely on anyone else apart from this strategy again. So again, I re-emphasize $2.157 million. Saving $10,000 and just letting it sit till 60. But what if you waited till 65? That's the retirement age in Australia right now. So your kid waits till 65 before they can touch it. Instead of having 2.1 million, they've actually got at 65 years of age, 3.314,419 and 45 cents. $3.3 million. That's enough as a father to make me think my kids will be taken care of. You can see, speaking from personal experience, it's exactly what I'm doing with my kids now. So I hope this illustrates from this video the beauty of compound interest and the magic that it entails. Yes, you're not always going to get 10%. Sometimes you'll get more, sometimes you'll get less. There's lean periods, there's good periods. And there'll be all sorts of other things that crop up in life. But you can see compound interest, where interest, layering upon interest, rising exponentially, is a magic that you really, really need to work for yourself if you're ever going to get anywhere by investing. And you're not going to get rich from doing a job. It's going to be the money you earn from a job, subtract the money you spend, invest the rest, and that's going to be what gets you there. So hopefully you like this video, and if you do, please like and subscribe. I would love to see more of you, and we'll continue again next week. Thank you very much. Don't forget that this video was presented by the K part in King, which is the acronym for knowledge. And knowledge is only valuable if you act on it today. So once you've seen this video, if there's something in it, even the slightest bit that could be applied to your life, start doing it now. Don't wait. Don't miss out on your $4,688 per week by going, I'll do it next week. Start today. Start now. This has been Steve from K.I.N.G.Value Videos. See you next week.